This is a topic that I've wanted to have a little fun with for a while. But since I know it might be a bit of a sensitive topic for Pokemon fans, let's just try to have as much fun as we can and not hold back on those upset comments directed at me. Be nice to the people who respond to you, but if you need a vent about your day or your frustrations on my picks, go ahead and just let them rip at me in the comments below. Or on my Twitter with the hashtag #JethNotAgain and your best meme. But seriously, be nice to each other. I'm watching. So you know what? Let's just get started. Welcome one and all, and let's make this a nice community effort to really figure out who the ugliest Pokemon are and why. I hope you all enjoy our top 10 ugliest Pokemon. Number 10, Purugly. Ugly is in its name. I can't just ignore that. Purugly is a Pokemon that's purposely made to live up to its ugly name. Cats in general are great. They purr, they meow, they conquer foreign countries in their spare time, and Purugly does all of that. It just unfortunately was designed with the description of ugly in mind, because some guy in an office said, what if we made, now stay with me here, a really ugly cat? Now, although it still looks like a fine cat on its own, you can see that they made some adjustments to fit that label. Its build, whiskers, and to an extent its color scheme is made to be unflattering. Not to mention its ears. Those are pretty much an extension of the front part of its face. They lack a crease. Look at it, they just smoothly transition as if its head is a boomerang that you don't want back. And to make sure I get this point across, ugly is in its name. Even if someone likes how it looks, it's still a Purugly Pokemon. Number 9, Selasa. I know a lot of you are going to be upset about this because everyone loves Selasa, but you know what? People have different tastes. I don't like Watchdog, it sucked. Yeah, maybe the game and story could have been cool, but I don't want to scroll through the minimal gameplay of every mission and then get plopped down into a bumper car simulator with every police car in the city until I escape them. But I'm sure someone likes that. Who thought that this was a good idea? Alright, look, I know it might not be the objectively ugliest Pokemon that everyone would vote on, but I'm sure it's fine to other people. To some it might even look, I guess let's go with lovely. But to me, it looks like a creepier and more uncomfortable version of how people felt about Lopunny. This is the king of Pokemon that pops out in the dark, slithering along your floor, just making weird slurping noises like while its tongue just floats there like it's its own separate reptile. It has this innately creepy stalker disposition, and I'd really appreciate maybe a little less slithering. I'll admit, it is still a cool Pokemon. It just creeps me out. I'm sorry. Number 8, Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime has an interesting hairstyle. Sure, those might be its ears. Sure, those might even be an onslaught of fungus deciding it wants to colonize on its head and take in the process of creating a civilization that's capital is on the bald head of a mime. But with how they look, we need to dissect it as a fashion statement. Honestly, it could even be a pair of boots that he glued onto his head. But the fact that it can be interpreted as any one of those is a testament to how this Pokemon looks. Mr. Mime's body seems like it's held together by toothpicks and wads of bubblegum that are attached to its kind of creepy looking cherub body. Mr. Mime is another one of those Pokemon that can feel a bit out of place as it's meant to be a little too human-like. It essentially ends up looking like a Pokemon that was spliced with a human, and boy does that make it feel not very good looking. Number 7, Clink. While the Pokemon itself isn't ugly, there are some surroundings that makes what happened to this Pokemon pretty ugly. If we take a look at its face, we can see that the second eye is bandaged. Now that's just ugly. Who would dare abuse this Pokemon by hurting it like that? And whoever did it to both gears. That's not something you can turn a blind eye to. Number 6, Feebas. Feebas is another Pokemon that's purposely made to be ugly, so you can upgrade it with a wonderful array of beauty products in the hopes it turns into Milotic. That, however, does not make up for the fact this fish might as well be a dried up piece of fried tilapia, but with feelings that I'm so very afraid to hurt. If we were to compare it to all the other fish Pokemon, well, let's just say it's not looking good. With its purpose to be a catalyst for the beauty that is Milotic, Feebas takes one for the team by falling short on the look scale, so Milotic can be marvelous. Number 5, Burmy. I feel like I haven't talked about Burmy enough. For all my new viewers, if you haven't looked back at some of my older top 10s, you might have missed my dislike for Burmy. And after all this time, the original green Fermi, it's starting to look a little less bad to me. Don't get me wrong, it still looks like mold being brought to life, but in comparison to the radioactive potato version and the dirty bubblegum with hair in it, the original version is a tiny bit less worse. Fermi comes with two complete features, one being a face that looks like it sucked on a lemon, the second being its dung-looking top. But you know what? This Pokemon is doing its best trying to scrape together whatever it can to make its cloak, and that's a tough worker. Number 4. Magmar. I think Magmar is an awesome Pokemon. It's one of the original fire types that sparked a flame in our hearts and made us appreciate the type. But when you look closer at it, you can see it has the face that only a mother could love. Luckily, its mom is probably a glob of goo with endless amounts of love. Magmar is a Pokemon that wears a duck face like it's a 2007 Instagram picture. Magmar's been doing that since the 90s. And look at this Gen 1 sprite. It's got a rotisserie chicken on top of its right eye and a bulb of garlic on the other. At least his sleeves are cool. They're all ruffled like he's playing the maracas and dancing to salsa. Number 3. Electric. Wow, its name is actually Electric. I just never said it out loud. I don't have much to say here. I was just scrolling up and down the Pokedex, looking at Pokemon to put on this list, and you know what? This wasn't supposed to be on here, but when I saw it, I knew it was meant to be. I really think Electros is a very cool Pokemon, and one of my favorites from this generation. However, it looks as though it had to go through some awkward teenage phases to get to where it is. Electric. Thank you for bringing us Electros, and reminding us that we can all grow into strong, good-looking eels. Number 2. Toxapex. It's not all about the outer features here. Well, 80% of it is, but who are we kidding? That's just like real life. Hidden beneath the layers of protective curtains lies the face of a gremlin that eats Corsola and leaves bits of them scattered in its wake. Toxapex is merciless. Toxapex probably looks fine if it closes those two flaps, but once it opens up to show that angry face and you learn about its hidden taste for coral creatures, we can see that this Pokemon is both ugly on the inside and ugly on the inside. Number 1. Game Freak decided to do something freaky in the 3rd generation by making Nosepass, a literal rock Pokemon with a huge nose. Now that's fine, they're experimenting, they're creating new ideas, they're trying to come up with unique Pokemon. And you know what? Sometimes you end up with Nosepass. Sometimes you just have a little too much to drink on a Tuesday afternoon and you make some things that maybe should have been reconsidered. It's alright, I've been there. But what we can't forgive is when you decide to jump into round 2 of that Tuesday afternoon and create a floating version of this Pokemon with an upside down afro and the tip of a Lego as a hat. I guess they decided to give it Magnipole so it could be attractive in one way or another. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this discussion. I really just wanted to make jokes and I hope I didn't make too many of you upset, but hey, I guess that's what this topic would do. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know which Pokemon you think is the ugliest. Also, I'm really close to 10K followers on Twitter, so if you could head over there and follow, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for being here, and until next time, keep on catching!